Hello, everyone. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the Mad Scientist, and welcome to the Mad Science Lab. You can find me on Twitter at FFMadScientist. You can also find my work at Player Profiler, DLF, The League Winners, and King Fantasy Sports, as well as catch me on YouTube at FFMadScientist, youtube.com/FFMadScientist. Today we'll be continuing the My Guy series. I'll be uploading one per day up until the draft. Today's guest to go over his My Guys is Corey Bittner. Corey, thanks for joining me. You want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me. My name is
Thanks for joining.
Corey. Yeah, definitely. We've been doing some good work over at the RPG Fantasy Football Podcast. That's where I'm coming from. Talking with my guys Evan and Eric, and yeah, today got the invite from you to come on and chat some rookies, and something I love to do. So excited to bring up some My Guys.
All right, let's get into it then. If I can get this stupid graphic to load. Oh, there we go. One sec.
Damn technology.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Your first My Guy is Boston
Ooh, yeah.
College wide receiver Zay Jones, checking in at 5'9", 182 pounds, 4.42 40 time. I was low on him early in the pre-draft process because he kind of looks by the size that he's a big slot receiver, nothing more. But as we've gotten closer and closer to the draft, it seems like he's going to get higher and higher NFL draft capital, and he's moved up my board. I hit normally 110 is where there's a big cliff for me in Superflex. He's kind of started to fill that gap there where I don't mind him at 111, 112. What are your thoughts on him? What do you like about him?
Yeah, man. I'm with you where I've been rising on him, and as of right now, he is one of my favorites coming into this draft season. You look at his size, and yep, a little worrying with the 5'9" mark there. You want to see these guys a little taller in general. But when I've watched the tape on Zay, just seeing what he can do, the ability that he has to make some really clutch plays. I think it's been mocked before, and it's maybe a cliche at this point, but I look at Zay Flowers and I see Tyler Lockett 2.0.
I mean, the size, people are kind of, the size isn't worrisome anymore. I know he might not be Devonta Smith, but after Devonta Smith doesn't really worry anyone. You see his Superflex ADP on DLF, he's moved all the way up to 110. So he's certainly moved up from where we started.
Yeah, I've done a few rookie drafts at this point, pretty early, but been doing them anyway because I'm a little bit of a degenerate. And yeah, I was really excited to almost get him at the 112 and was sniped one pick before mine. He went at the 111, and even went to that guy and was like, "Hey, you want to drop back a slot? And I'll give you the 205 just to drop back a slot." The guy was like, "Nope, no interest in selling Zay Flowers. I know what I have." So I'm like, "Okay, that's where we're at."
Well, that's fair enough. Like I said, for me, he was originally he was someone I kind of had him in that class or the tier with Hyatt, Downs, Mims, Rice, kind of, not I want to say more like third tier of wide receivers where I didn't really want them at the end of the first. I was more comfortable taking him start of the second, mid second, but for me, I don't know if it's a popular opinion, but he separated himself from that group, and I have him considerably above that group now, where it's kind of like JSN, I have tier 1, then you go Quentin Johnston and Jordan Addison, and then I had Zay Flowers. He's kind of interchangeable now for me with Jordan Addison, and then it's the other group. So for me, he's definitely, like I said, he's bridging the gap on the cliff there at the end of the 110. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And, a lot of it, I believe, is kind of the pre-draft hype that he's starting to get. Really seems like he has a chance to break into the later, first round, or even if he's an early second round guy, that's still pretty good capital.
Yeah,
but yeah, yeah, for sure. For me, I'm not a big QJ guy. Quentin Johnston, I have some worries about personally. And so Zay Flowers actually, between Jordan Addison and him, he has kind of been landing at my overall wide receiver 2 in this draft class.
Oh, I think think the highest I've had him, he seems to be flip flopping between 3 and 4 with Addison. I am a QJ guy. I won't put him above JSN, but I'm a height supremacist. I love me
Gotcha.
the alpha wide receiver. So
Yep.
I get it. He has terrible hands, terrible route runner, and he's probably the 4 in this class, but I'm partial to him. If you had to pick a landing spot, preferably, I would say realistically 20 to 31. Got any teams in there in the first round you like?
Yeah, and I mentioned it, and I'll preface this by saying I am a big Hawks homer. But I said Tyler Lockett 2.0, man, and Tyler Lockett's looking at almost 30 years old if he's not already, and I would love to see Zay Flowers come in there as the prodigal son and do what Tyler Lockett has done for the Hawks for so many years.
Is Lockett a lot smaller than him? I feel like he is.
They're the same height.
Are they? Okay, see, I don't know why. It's maybe because of the role he plays, or maybe because he's on the field with DK Metcalf. I always just thought Lockett was smaller, but
Actually, I think the DK thing does a lot when you compare the two on the field.
Metcalf, so.
But Tyler Lockett's actually, now that I'm looking, he's 5'10" versus Zay Flowers 5'9", so actually has an inch on him. Yeah.
Well, then we can transition into your next guy, who definitely isn't going to look small next to anyone. Yeah. That is Georgia tight end Darnell Washington, checking in at 6'6", 264. A lot of this, I feel like I got to double check this. I have no DNP for his 40 time. I feel like he ran that late at his pro day, and I just don't have it.
I got it pulled up. He's actually he's a 4.64 guy.
Did he? Okay, so that's solid.
Yeah, at 6'7", 265 is pretty impressive. You're looking at numbers, that are better than Rob Gronkowski at a similar size.
So, okay, I'm a fan of him as well. I think he's my tight end. I don't know, anywhere between 2 and 4, depending on the day. I won't move anyone past Mayer, but were you a fan of Washington before the sled video?
Yeah, I mean, that's where the hype is. But that's solidified it for me. But that was a great video. Him and that sled, and then also watching him grab these like one-handed catches where he's making the football look like a tennis ball in his hand. Yeah. Definitely made me pretty excited. But even before that, man, he's on this Georgia team with 2 other fantastic tight end prospects that are a year behind him.
Brock Bauer.
And Brock Bauer. His teammate.
I can't remember either. That's why I asked. I knew Brock Bauer, but then I flaked on the other one. So.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Point noted, though. He's got lots of target competitions. That's what I was going to say. That's kind of the knock on him is the production profile. Yeah. But if you shared the same position, well, it's like my comp is, Roschon with Bijan. Roschon would look a lot better if he didn't have Bijan in front of him. I would say Washington's numbers would probably be a lot better if he didn't have Brock Bauer in front of him.
Bauer, 100%.
Bowers?
Brock Bowers, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. Right. Bowers. Then I called him Bowser at one point. I seen him.
That's a good nickname.
Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. So.
But yeah, man, I love Darnell. Big dude, obviously, but his athletics are crispy. And yeah, for me, I think you're right. Where Myers is probably the safer tight end 1 prospect of the draft, but I would not be surprised, depending on where he goes, if Darnell Washington eventually can eclipse him.
Yeah, he's another one where if he manages to get the draft capital, they think of mid to early first, and say he goes 115 to Green Bay, all bets are off, and he's going to be moved up. Right now, he's going, according to DLF Superflex ADP for rookies, he's going at 28. So I've noticed, I think I've said that on pretty much any of these tight end profiles. When we first started the pre-draft process, it was always Mayer going anywhere between 1.7 and 1.12. Since we've seen, Washington, Kincaid, Musgrave, Laporta, Kuntz, they've shown how deep this class is. You've got them falling, and it's anyone. Typically, it's 206 to 208 is your first tight end, and it's normally Mayer, but there's also some Kincaid, excuse me. And then with those two going around 206, everyone's just saying screw it, and you're seeing Washington going 302, 38, and that's great value, especially if you get him now. I mean, he goes 150 or 15th overall to Green Bay. You're not getting him in the 3rd round. He's going to move up and challenge for tight end 1, but he's solid value right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I play a lot of tight end premium, and so he's been going a little higher.
Do you have any leagues that aren't tight end premium? I don't think I have any non-premium.
At this point, it's just varying degrees of how premium.
It's like single quarterback. I think I have
Right.
and it's a family and friends league where we're just trying to keep it simple. And I think that's the only one quarterback. And I think I maybe have one non-premium league for tight ends. They don't
Yeah.
exist.
But yeah, like you're saying, I mean, this tight end class is sort of even deceptively deep. Maybe the veneer is starting to fade away here with time because you're seeing these athletes come out and be really interesting.
Where's
But
he rank for your tight ends?
He ranks solidly at 2. I still think that Mayer is probably the safest guy, like I said, but
Yeah.
he's been getting really close to overtaking him. I am a sucker for that athletic profile. So yeah, I would not be surprised if, depending on his landing spot and just depending on how hype he actually ends up being, I might anticipate a flop there.
I think I'm going to have Mayer, unless Mayer really falls in the draft. I think he's solidified as my 1. I've got Washington in the 2nd tier, waiting for draft capital landing spot. My tier is him, Kincaid. I think I have Kincaid, Washington, and then I'm really high on Zach Kuntz. And those 3 are my guys where, based on where they land, they could be moving up or down. So
Yeah, Zach Kuntz has a great profile as well, and with Mayer, it's
athleticism, that's all that matters at tight end, size and
exactly.
athleticism. And that's why I'm higher on Washington and Kuntz specifically. Whereas Mayer, I think Mayer's the most well-rounded, and Kincaid, I think, probably has the most offensive upside. But Mayer and Kincaid don't have the size of Kuntz and Washington. So,
yep, I think the main difference you're seeing there is Mayer has obviously the body of work, and less of the athletic profile, whereas Darnell Washington is a freak
he'd
and
play
has
next to
way
Bowser. That's
less.
why.
Yeah, way less body of work, and that could very well be why.
Yeah. All right, let's transition here into your final my guy. We're moving along pretty damn fast. You can tell I've had a long day. I'm boom, boom, boom. Damn kids. Hey, I actually have this one updated. Your final my guy is someone that I've had a lot of requests for him as a my guy, which is funny because he's on for Superflex DLF Superflex ADP. They only list 62. He's going outside the 62. So we've got West Virginia wide receiver Bryce Ford Wheaton, 6'4", 221, 4.38 40 time. He's another one where I've had him on here for my guys episode once before, and all I said was that he was so low. I have nothing on him except a spreadsheet, like the spreadsheet metrics. He measured, his measurables were good. He checked a lot of the boxes. I have very little film on him because he's been so low. Like I said, he's going undrafted. He's a guy where I'm not going to do much more on him now, but in 2 weeks, if he gets solid draft capital, I'm going to give him a much deeper look. On the other hand, if he doesn't get any draft capital, goes like 7th round, I'm just not even going to bother, and I'm just going to go with the spreadsheet on him. So maybe you've got a little bit of a deeper look into him than just some numbers than I do. So it's all yours.
Sure. I've been doing quite a bit of film study on Bryce Ford Wheaton. His athletics, like you said, pop up the charts, and so that's what kind of turned me on to looking deeper into him. After watching some of his tape, man, he's from West Virginia. It's not a super high powered football school by any means, but he was the alpha dog there. He was a safety valve for that offense, and the big thing that I really like about him is his mentals seem super locked in. He is a really focused dude. He is very serious about a career in the NFL. And you translate that with all of his athletic profile, he gets in the right spot. We could see a huge boost for Bryce Ford Wheaton coming up.
He's definitely a guy, excuse me, who's been on my radar lately. Not, so many people have mentioned him, but then I look and the first thing I notice is that he's 6'4", 221 and runs a 4.38. So right there, I think he might just get more NFL draft capital than people expect, because this class, whether it be running back, they say that running backs are deep, but running backs, there's a lot of running backs that don't profile to be true 3-down backs, and the receivers don't profile. A lot of them are just, glorified slots. I think this guy could move up more than you would expect, just based on the fact that he has legit size and speed to be a potential alpha. I know he's kind of raw from what I did see, but if he were ever to land in a decent spot where he could get a shot, even if it started on special teams, and if he could find his way into a consistent role, he definitely looks to have the size and the tools to maybe surprise some people. So he could be a value. Like I said, it's going to be, for me, it's going to be draft capital. If he doesn't get the draft capital, it's not even going to be worth my time. But if he does, he's definitely going to get a much deeper look once we know where he's going and when he went.
Yeah, I mean, like athletically speaking, right? Just pure athletics. We're looking at a guy who basically mirrors Julio Jones. Like that's
what I was
the
thinking,
kind of
just from
build.
looking at him. The picture alone, I said he kind of, you know what? Maybe it's not even Julio. He kind of looks to me like AJ Green.
Yeah, he's got a couple inches and a little bit of poundage on AJ Green, but I feel you there. He was actually the first guy I thought of too.
Yeah, he's a
But
big
really,
guy.
what I kind of expect is not a 6th, 7th round. I think with his speed, that would be crazy to see him drop that low. I think he might have a good shot at going late 3rd, into the 4th round, kind of like a Brandon Marshall track, where he went in like the late 4th and ended up being Brandon Marshall, with very similar athletic profile. So that's kind of like where I'm seeing him.
If he goes in the 3rd, you're going to see his ADP go from undrafted outside 62 to he's going to be a consistent 3rd round receiver. So I guess if he's one of your guys right now and you are, I don't know why anyone would be doing rookie drafts right now unless you're sociopaths. Like, why? I get it if you're doing underdog and it's just mass drafting, but even in an underdog draft where you're not doing rookie drafts and underdog, so why would you have them? So if you, by some slim chance we're drafting now, I guess he's as good an upside play as any. And then you just pray for the draft capital and, he's an easy cut if he doesn't get it. But this is one where, you're going to wish you had drafted before the NFL draft because he may shoot up 3 rounds in the very near future here. So, all righty. Well, that concludes my guys. They were all, like I said, I've had a lot of Bryce Ford Wheaton and some Zay in Washington. So there were a lot of guys that are definitely moving up here. A lot of my guys that are very popular. So I guess
that's a little worrying. I was hoping Bryce Ford could be a little bit of a more sleeper for longer.
You're definitely not the first. You may be the 2nd or 3rd. So he's definitely, I think he's outside. The fact that he's still going undrafted shows you that I don't think there's that many experts.
Yeah.
The ones who are podcasting aren't really doing a whole lot of actual drafts right now. So, well, thank you for your analysis. Thank you for joining me. You want to take one more chance here to tell everyone where we can find you and whatnot?
Yeah, sure. And once again, thank you for having me on.
Anytime. It was great.
Yeah, always nice to talk to these rookies, man. But yeah, like I said before, I'm a part of the Fantasy Football RPG podcast. You can find us on Twitter at FFRPG Pod. I'm on Sleeper. You can add me at Bittner Steel, and I have a ton of leagues that we all have under this RPG umbrella. They're all like based on fantasy, like fantasy RPG classes. We have like RPG barbarians and druids and all kinds of cool stuff. We're up to like over 25 leagues now, and we're not stopping anytime soon. So
you guys do nightly episodes on the podcast or weekly or?
We do weekly. Yep.
Weekly. All right. You'll have to give me a shout. I'll have to drop in sometime on you.
Yeah. Would love to have you anytime, man.
All righty. Well, thank you for joining. Once again, I'm Aaron St. Dennis, the Mad Scientist. You can find me on Twitter at FFMadScientist. You can find my written and video work. Well, the videos would be at youtube.com/FFMadScientist. The written work would be at the League Winners, King Fantasy Sports, DLF, or Player Profiler. And you can find my rankings on Fantasy Pros. This is Aaron St. Dennis, and this has been the Mad Science Lab, My Guys episode with Corey Bittner of the FFRPG podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good night.